So guys, I have been trying to find the perfect video to make for you guys. I've been wanting to talk about things that have been happening in my life, and luckily Elvis the Alien made this perfect video on this guy called Paul Joseph Watson. This piece of shit is a far conservative guy. And trust me, I do not care what your political affiliation is. I'm personally independent, and if you want to be a far conservative or a far liberal, go ahead. You're saying the exact same thing as each other, just with different words and different people, but you know, do whatever you want. If you believe in fucking socialism, communism, good for you. I don't care. That's not the point. This video is called The Truth About Depression, and this 1.4 million subscriber guy is impacting people with this, and it pissed me off. I got so emotional, and let's just get into it.
1 in 10 Americans are now on antidepressants. 1 in 4 women in their 40s and 50s are on antidepressants. The rate of antidepressant use has increased 400% over the last 2 decades. Blue Monday.
I see where he's coming from here. People do abuse the drugs. People do use depression as a crutch or something to gain attention. So, okay, fine.
No, not that one. Blue Monday, the 3rd week of January, is the most depressing day of the year for people living in the Northern Hemisphere. The weather sucks, you're not getting enough sunlight, causing seasonal affective disorder. You're in the most debt, you're more likely to be sick. Christmas is just a memory, and your New Year's resolutions are already failing. So you're more prone to depression than at any other time of the year.
Okay, sure. Yes, cold weather does affect it, debt, stress, that all affects it.
But wait. Those factors have always been in play. None of this explains why depression has become so commonplace in modern society. Well, I'll tell you why. We're bathed in a culture that glorifies and fetishizes depression.
Sure. Yes, we do fetishize it a little bit. You know, that was that meme where Tumblr girls would post on their Tumblr, "I'm so depressed," but they really weren't. Whatever. Fine.
It's now a form of virtue signaling to constantly drone on about how depressed you are. You see it all over YouTube, these snivelling hug and confess videos made by privileged millennial brats who haven't had a proper day of hardship in their entire lives. They think they're being edgy.
Oh, thank God I'm a Gen Z. But also, seriously, this is the part... I'm gonna go get my bed buddy really quick. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Sorry, this is stressing me out. This guy's an idiot. So let's take my past, for example. When I was about, 5 to about 16, they beat me like dogs, emotionally, verbally, and mentally abused the shit out of me, telling me I'm worthless, stupid, I'll never have friends, no one will ever like me, I'm ugly, I'm hideous. They choked me to the ground, they threw me around the house, they hit me into walls, they punched me. And then let's take my friends, for example. I've had multiple friends who were raped. Multiple people killed themselves. Their significant other killed themselves. Their significant other died. And they're just millennials who, never have had a hardship in their life.
When in fact they're engaging in just another form of basic bitchery.
You're a basic bitch.
Social media has created a generation of young people suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. They try to one-up each other for depression brownie points with endless blubberfests about their poor privileged lives.
Shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. There are people out there who want to kill themselves on the daily. Depression is a debilitating disease that affects me so greatly. I recently went through a breakup, and these have been some of the hardest months of my life. It's hard for me to wake up and go to work most days. I can't play guitar, I can't make YouTube videos, I can't do anything because I can't find any motivation for months. It destroys my life for months at a time. You absolute monster of a human being sitting there telling your 1.4 million subscribers that depression is not real and we are doing it just to one-up each other. When I was a kid, I would be so depressed I couldn't even get out of bed. I wanted to kill myself all the time. I cut myself. I self-harmed multiple ways. I hated myself. And I know that the suicide rate for teens, the suicide rate for white children and teens between 10 and 17 was up 70%. And you're gonna fucking sit there behind your little camera and talk about how depression isn't real when these kids constantly are killing themselves. You absolute despicable human being. You're calling these kids privileged? Look at your fucking self. If you can sit there and say that something that triggers you does not destroy your life, you are so lucky. You are so fucking lucky. When I think about my past, it breaks me down. I hate it. I can't. I'm gonna have to live with the fact that my parents hated me for the rest of my life. I bet your parents loved you, gave you money, gave you whatever you wanted. So fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
Meanwhile, people living in African mud huts literally give zero fucks. Maladjustment is now trendy, and not in a kind of Morrissey, emo, grunge-esque, chic kind of way. And heaven knows I'm miserable now. We've always had that. I'm talking about this ridiculous idea that we've been forced to swallow.
Yeah, you really think they don't give a fuck, you idiot? They're dying constantly. Most of them won't even make it out of their child phase. They're gonna be horrible, horrible lives. And for you to say they don't have depression, I'd say the only way those kids are able to make it through every day is because they have to hunt to survive. They have to do things to survive. And now that we don't all the time, we have so many things just given to us. We can go get food from anywhere. We can eat way better. Depression, God, you fucking idiot. The only reason those African kids are okay and they're happy, the only reason those kids are happy and they don't give a fuck is because they constantly have to forage and hunt and do everything they can just to survive. We don't have all that. We need things to entertain us. We need things to be good in our lives. It's not social media that's making us like that. It's because we don't have as much to think about, so there's so many other things we have to think about.
Constantly admitting weakness is a strength. It isn't. Strength of mind is strength. Being constantly brushed off course by the slightest breeze and then having a whining fit about it isn't. They've transformed being anemic, weak-minded, and easily upset into a positive personality trait. This idea that we should all have permanent emotional incontinence.
Stop fucking throwing memes in there, you idiot. God, they're not even funny. You, oh my God, this is so hard for me to talk about. Fuck you, dude. The slightest brush of a problem. Are you retarded? Are you seriously retarded? You cunt. You fucking And anyone with depression knows they can get triggered and they can be in extreme pain, guilt, horrible, horrible self-hatred. Oh my God, you fucker. You fucker. I cannot believe you're sitting there talking about it like this. Like it's just nothing.
This idea that if we're not constantly sharing the latest chapter in our contrived mental breakdown for all the world to see, that we're somehow cold or inhuman. That's total BS.
Bullshit.
Saying that you should hide your emotions makes you so fucking weak. Do you know how hard and scary it is to put yourself out there? For you to sit behind your camera, for you to sit there and just say, oh, you guys are faking it, you millennials, you liberals, fuck.
Strength of character used to be about the ability to deal with negative stuff without just falling to pieces at the first sign of distress. Now,
Jesus Christ, I don't know if I can make a video on this. This guy is so stupid. What is he talking about? Okay, sure. You should be able to deal with problems in a mature and non-emotional way. But if you can't, it's not a problem. If you have to show your emotion and things break you down, you are not a bad person. Oh my God.
Stress. Now look what they've turned us into. Simpering pussies wallowing in our own misfortune whenever every tiny thing doesn't go our way.
That's not how it works. Oh my God, you're so goddamn stupid. Okay. I don't wallow in my misfortune. I don't sit there and cry about how bad my life is. Sometimes it hits me really hard and I have to deal with the fact that I will never have a normal childhood. My childhood was stripped from me. Many people who are raped or destroyed sometime in their life, it's always going to be like that. They never get to take it back. It's gone forever. 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 It's gone. Your innocence, your trust in people is gone and you can work on it and get better. But some part of you will always have that. And and it's not fair for you to sit there and say this.
Over eager to share every minor anxiety in a giant self-pitying Facebook post.
If you want to talk about your emotions online, do it. There's nothing that should be stopping you. This fucking idiot right here has no idea what he's talking about because he's never had depression or anything like this, obviously. I can say that without a doubt that this boy is atypical. He can deal with things in a very easily, and he can think through things. There's nothing in his brain telling him to kill himself constantly. There's nothing in his brain telling him that he's not worth it. And a lot of us have that.
Oh, but there shouldn't be a stigma around depression anymore. That's mean. Yes, there should. Just as there should be a stigma around smoking and obesity. Depression has become the new fat pride movement.
Oh God, they're not the same thing. Depression isn't an addiction. They're completely separate things. Why would you use obesity and cigarettes? That's so stupid. That is complete addiction. Do you realize that you're comparing something that we put in ourselves? We eat the food, we smoke the cigarettes. I have depression from some other force. What? God, this is stressing me out so bad.
Our culture is telling young people that depression is completely normal and should be embraced. You saw the media pushing this same narrative again after the death of Carrie Fisher. Depression is not normal, but allowing yourself to be indoctrinated with this idea that it is the primary reason why you can't beat it.
That's not... you can't just beat things like that. You can't just wake up and be okay. Oh my God, have you ever done any research on this? Have you done anything?
This coerced mental fragility also renders you completely helpless when it comes to dealing with actual tragedy or hardships. They've turned us into complete pussies, because pussies are easier to push around and manipulate.
You're a big fat pussy.
What is this? Are you doing a conspiracy theory? The government's not trying to control us with depression. If you are a stable human being and you go get Prozac or you go get Lexapro or whatever drug and you take it for recreational use, then you are a problem.
And if you want to blame someone for this, you can trace it back to idiotic French philosophers like Michel Foucault. They pushed this postmodern nihilistic bullshit that insanity was sanity and that rampant hedonism was the only way to achieve fulfillment and happiness. Logically, the depression epidemic makes no sense. By every single objective factor, it's never been a better time to be a human being living in the West. Even amongst the poorest, our basic needs are met and exceeded. And depression was barely even a thing. It wasn't even talked about 50 or 60 years ago. So why is everyone so depressed now when we've got it so much easier?
Oh my God. Oh my God. The reason we have so much knowledge on depression and mental disorders now is because we have computers that can analyze brains. We had no idea it was a thing. We knew people would get sad and very distraught and very disabilitated, but we didn't understand why until now because we have computers. We didn't just show up with this. We just started figuring this stuff out recently. That's why it wasn't talked about 50 years ago.
It's because you've been completely misled about what depression actually is. Depression is nothing more than dissatisfaction with life.
I'm actually shaking. That makes me so fucking angry. Dissatisfaction with life. I wish I was dissatisfied with life. I wish that was a problem. I actually love life. I love waking up and looking outside and seeing the beautiful trees and beautiful sunlight. It's not life that fucked me over. It's my parents. It's my parents. It's the people who were supposed to love me and show me how. Do you know they cared so little about me? A girl I dated had to teach me how to be a human being. I had extreme mental problems. I could not function as a human being. I could barely get through my day without fucking something up. And now I'm a lot better. But my parents didn't teach me that shit. No one taught me. I could barely form sentences because my mind was so broken.
It's temporary unhappiness.
Temporary unhappiness. How long is temporary to you? When I was a kid, I was numb for, 8, 9 years. How fucking temporary is that? How temporary were my emotions destroyed? Oh my God.
But the dominant culture in the pharmaceutical industry figured out that it could control people and make tons of money by treating depression as a pathological disease. So now depression is not unhappiness, but a medical condition, which it's the responsibility of the doctor to alleviate by medical means. And they're only too happy to, often being paid to do so, under the insane justification that depression is a chemical imbalance.
What does that mean? So if doctors weren't getting paid, is it still an epidemic? There has been numerous studies that depression is a chemical imbalance and that we need something to try to get the chemicals back in line. No, it will not cure it. It will alleviate it for some time, but it will not cure it. Depression is incurable right now.
Which it isn't. We've been indoctrinated that everybody has a right to happiness. No, you don't. Happiness is earned by the way you live your life.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Everyone is entitled to happiness. Do you think the my life choices are the reason I'm fucked up today? Let me go back in time and tell my parents to stop beating me. Oh wait, I did multiple times. I begged them to stop, and they didn't. I was waking up at 3 in the morning on school nights, multiple nights a week. They didn't feed me. If you see pictures of me when I was about 17, I was so underweight. You could see my ribs constantly, and I thought it was normal because no one ever told me the difference. No one ever showed me that you were supposed to be... I was probably 6'3", 120 pounds, something like that. And now I'm 6'3" and 180 pounds. And I'm in a healthy weight. I was so malnourished. You could see my ribs so easily. You are so disgusting for saying that my choices are the reason I'm depressed. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who do make horrible choices, but most of the time you get something handed to you and you have to just deal with it. Life does not give a fuck about you. Life is not there for you. It will give you shitty hands and you just have to deal with it. And it's not your fault all the time.
If you make bad life choices, you become dissatisfied with life. You become depressed, and it's your fault. People make dreadful lifestyle decisions. They're lazy. They self-sabotage. And then they wonder why they still get depressed. You're not entitled to be happy.
You are entitled to nothing.
Your mood cannot be independent of the way you live your life. You can't eliminate dissatisfaction with your life by taking pills.
I have a friend who, if they literally do not take their pills, they will kill themselves. Their brain is so broken that even with the pills, the thought of suicide is constantly on their mind. And if you took the pills away from him, he would have died a long time ago. There are people that desperately need these pills. Desperately need them.
The only cure is to change the way you live your life, to make better decisions, to create value, excitement, and authenticity in your life. Work on projects, start businesses, read, absorb worthwhile information, create something. Listen, I'm not trying to go all Tony Robbins on you. I don't have all the answers, but you need to reach for those higher levels in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because society and the culture that we're subjected to does everything in its power to distract you from achieving self-actualization.
I would love to get up and start a business. I would love to make a YouTube video so funny it gets me 1 million subscribers. I would love to do that. But the motivation I have is so lackluster, it's hard for me to do anything.
You're not going to achieve self-actualization by taking pills or having endless conversations with therapists, most of whom don't give a damn about you anyway.
You have researched so little and you care so little that you're just spouting nonsense to get 700,000 views. Seriously.
Reject this barbarous, vulgar culture that pretends to offer you everything, yet only ever leaves you empty and isolated. Reject this idea that depression is a fait accompli, that you just have to accept and tolerate. Reject the normalization, glorification, and fetishization of mental illness.
Oh, InfoWars. He works closely with Alex Jones, who Alex Jones is a character, but this guy is just a fucking asshole. Fuck this guy. Fuck you, Paul Joseph Watson, for making this shit and putting it on the internet and destroying people's minds, thinking that they are fine when they are really not, saying that they don't have depression. The likes of you are what is wrong with this world. We need depression to be talked about. We need to talk about our feelings until we find a cure or something that works. Nothing works right now. Nothing. And you saying that is taking us a step back. Thank God if you do go through the comments, I'm not going to post them except this one. Virtual Adam says, take a dose of LSD, then try to stop tripping by saying, I'm not tripping. It won't work. Just like real depression can't be stopped with the power of thought. Like, I'm very glad that almost all the comments are saying, that's not right. They're saying this is not true. Everything you're saying is retarded. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I'm sorry it's been so long. It's been really rough for me. My fake depression has been holding me down really hard. So anyway, I'm gonna go, and I hope you guys have a great